This is the IC Pixels podcast with David and Anthony Cavens. We're going to talk about design in everyday situations. Welcome back to another episode of the IC Pixels podcast. This is David.
This is Anthony.
We're back, and guess what? For those of you that have been keeping track, it's been a whole year since we started this podcast. So, to those of you all that have been listening from the start, thank you. And if you haven't been listening from the start, go back and listen.
Yeah, not too far.
Yeah, some of those early episodes,
we had some
bangers.
Yeah, we dropped some gems here and there on the earlier ones, but I mean, I don't know. I think we've gotten better over the course of a year. So,
I mean, what would you say is, I guess, what's one of the main things you learned over the course of the year? Not necessarily about podcasting, just in general, but what have you learned?
Wait, you mean just in life?
No. I guess as a result of doing the podcast, what have you learned?
Well, I would say I've learned to talk better, make mouth words better. No, I mean, well, I've kind of learned how to, I don't know, make sure my energy is up even if I don't have the actual energy, you know? Mm-hmm. I guess, just. I mean, because I know that's like a thing. People that are on the radio, TV, and all that kind of other stuff, they have to, you can't really have a bad day on air,
Yeah.
you gotta keep it up because, people are, because there's a guy on the radio here, I've heard him say that before. It's like, he learned way back. And it's like he was having a bad day. Even people called him, was like, man, what's wrong with you? Like, you can't do that. We're having a bad day. We depend on you to keep it up. So, I mean, I don't know. I just learned how to, like, get my energy up and try to keep talking through things. So I've gotten better. I think I still, mess up words and stuff like that here and there, but just as far as like, getting my thoughts out when I'm talking,
mm-hmm.
I guess. So I'm better at talking, I guess, and like being clear about what I'm trying to say and things like that. So.
Well, you're so well spoken.
So well. Especially for a colored.
I was gonna say, like, that keep your energy up thing. I'm in the process of reading a book. Let me tell you the name of it. It's by, well, I'm not reading it. I'm audibling it, listening to it on Audible. It is called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. It's a pretty interesting book, but part of what one of the things in there talked about, and I've heard this before, was like, if you act like you're happy, you become more happy. Just like, if you smile or if you laugh or whatever, it just forces you to feel better. And so, it kind of coincides with that. Like, if I act like I'm happy and excited or whatever, it kind of impacts me on some level. And it causes you to just forget about whatever is bothering you. But in terms of what I've learned, one thing that I guess the main thing that I noticed was that I guess underestimated my reach in terms of like I post stuff about the podcast on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever, and I just assume no one cares, and I assume no one looked at it. And then when I looked at the numbers on SoundCloud, and they're low, and it's all disappointing and stuff like that. But there's been a couple times when I've been out talking to.
You getting recognized in the street?
No. I've been out and someone just came up to me like, "Hey, I'm a fan." Nah, but I've definitely been. There's been a couple times where I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were like, "Yeah, I heard you talking about that on your podcast," and I was like, "What? You actually listened?"
Kind of embarrassing. It's like, oh, you. Oh.
Yeah. Well, on one hand, it was a little embarrassing. I mean, not that I'm saying anything embarrassing or whatever on here, but I was just kind of surprised. Well, yeah, I have. I guess I was kind of surprised a few times that people actually listened, and people actually, like, some of these people are not people that obviously aren't people that like are into graphic design or anything like that. So I was like, okay, what you listen? Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. It feels good like hearing that. I mean, because I know we don't have like mad comments or whatever, but I don't know. Like, yeah, sometimes you hear somebody who's like, "Oh, you actually listen? Oh, cool."
Yep, it surprised me. Other than that, let's see. Well, I think the other thing I learned was like you just got to be consistent because I know for me, and I'm sure it's happened to you too. There's been some times when I was definitely like considering like, all right, I don't feel like recording this week. Let's just skip it, and we might get back to it. We might not. Or there's been times when I was like, I'm not really excited about talking about this topic, so let's just not record or whatever. And I think being consistent counts for a lot, a whole lot. Uh, because well, there's a whole nother conversation around that, but consistency counts for a lot because people will come to expect you to be consistent and they can count on you and trust you or whatever, even though you're just some person on the internet, but still that matters to people.
Yeah, I mean, I would say one thing. I just thought about it. It was like one thing that's probably good to do is to I guess I realize the importance of educating yourself.
Hmm.
Because even if you know a lot of stuff, because we record a podcast, I mean, there have been times, there've definitely been times, like you said, like we've been like, oh man, what are we going to talk about? And it's like, that tends to happen if you're not having life experiences or you aren't necessarily learning anything new.
Yeah.
I mean, you may learn something here and there, but nothing that's going to make a whole thing, whole
A whole
episode
episode.
or whatever. Because I thought about that recently because recently I've been reading a book. I mean, I read books a lot, but a lot of times they're just more kind of books for fun that I read.
Hmm.
Bunch of sci-fi stuff, and check out, I have a channel, um, but yeah, I read it for fun. I mean, while I may learn something from it, right now I'm reading a book about habits, and I can talk about that more later. Why I'm reading that, but it's like, oh, that's something I could actually talk about. Like now I have more information. I've learned something,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts, like, but a lot of them are for entertainment, and I think it's also good to make sure, okay, mix in with your entertainment some kind of education
Yeah.
that may be outside of, I mean, you gotta learn something because I ain't in school right now, so
Well, I think I
yeah,
completely agree with that. That's what, like, especially when I was in school, undergraduate and in my graduate degree program, that's one of the things I learned. I enjoyed the most was the learning aspect. But I feel like it makes you a more interesting person if you're constantly learning, because then we can talk about something and we have like you can educate me, I can educate you, we can understand, learn things. But if we can talk about together is you know Cardi B song or something like that, then really like
Cardi.
it's not that interesting. um, I mean, it's interesting on some level, but I can have that same conversation with anybody. But if I want to talk about like I don't know something deeper, like what the
The
impact of yeah
metaphysicals,
the physical metaphysical
lyrical,
in your
miracle,
swimming pool,
spherical.
yeah, I can't have that conversation with everybody, and that's what sets you or me, or that's what sets that person apart and makes me interested in talking to them.
Yeah, I used to be like that because I listened to NPR a
Hmm.
lot. But the problem was then I would go talk to other people to listen to NPR, and they're like,
Trying to drop the same knowledge on you.
"Yeah, it's like, yeah, I heard that. I heard that same story. You're not that smart."
Yeah, I used to really I like that game show they have. Wait, don't tell me.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to. I mean, I guess I can. I mean, I can listen to it other times. I mean, I
It's on
can.
the internet.
This is this is my schedule's changed recently or whatever. But I mean, I used to just turn it on or listen to it on the way at work and stuff like
Hmm.
that. I mean, because honestly, a lot of times, I mean, yeah, I could listen to whatever. I can plug my phone in and listen to whatever. But a lot of times, honestly, I just don't feel like it.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I just listen to the radio. No, the radio here is better than the radio was in
Hmm.
Alabama. So I listen to more. I mean, so I can just turn the radio on, and I'm not like in the morning. It's pretty good morning show or whatever. So I don't mind that. But later in the day, sometimes it does get redundant after a while. Listen to the same songs, and it's just like, all right. And so I mean, a lot of times I turn on NPR and I can listen to how horrible Trump is doing or something like that. But but they also have other interesting things. So I mean, I count that as a way of you know getting more knowledge and just broadening my knowledge of just learning things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You gotta get new information from wherever you can. I've also been listening to this podcast about health and stuff like that recently. I was doing that the other day, and like I don't know. I mean, because I mean, entertainment's cool, but you gotta mix it with the the you gotta mix the what is it, the candy and the medicine or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Well, so I was talking to somebody about this. I don't know. It might have been you, but like I listen to. Sometimes I listen to the read. Sometimes I listen to Brilliant Idiots. I listen to Joe Button's
Yeah.
podcast pretty regularly. So out of the three of those, and sometimes I watch the Everyday Struggle too. So out of all of that, like I kind of get the same topic rehashed three or four different times by different people. In some cases, by the same people. And so, like sometimes I don't even listen to it. And then I'll listen to Bodega Boys too sometimes. So that's a whole lot of people, and they all kind of talk about the same stuff. And so it's like, all
Yeah.
right, I need another
Some
podcast.
some are some are different. I mean, that's why I listen to Friend Zone. But so you actually get some. I don't know. You can actually learn something
Hmm.
on there, and they don't tend to spend that much time, if any, on
Like here's who's dating who or whatever tea is going on.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't. I mean, because I mean, I really don't care honestly about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be entertained. So I mean, I'll listen to Bodega Boys and I'll listen to Friend Zone so I can learn something after I laugh at nonsense for a while. So it kind of depends on what mood I'm in, what I want to pick. So I mean, it's just recently I've been in a like I want to learn something kind of mood, so I've been listening to that and getting mad
Yep.
knowledge.
So the one other thing I wanted to mention that I learned through this year of podcasting stuff was like I know one of our early episodes we talked about how bad we were at social media. I think we're definitely still pretty bad at it because the time it's to be good at social media requires a serious commitment in time, and you actually have to be
Yeah.
on the platform doing stuff like regularly, and I'm not willing to commit that. But I feel like we've gotten better at social media, and I can also say that through interactions on social media, I've again it goes back to like I realized like my reach is a little farther than I thought because I saw some people tweeting about the podcast saying we enjoyed this episode or whatever. Same thing on Facebook, and I was like, oh wow, okay. I didn't know anyone even listened to it. I mean, I know somebody listened to it, but I didn't know anyone was like actually saying anything about it. So
Yeah, I see the numbers, but part of my brain is just like, those aren't real
yeah,
people.
yeah, because I don't get any interaction with them. So I felt like trying to be a little more active on social media. I was able to see that like people are actually listening, they're enjoying the content, and I felt that was good. Um, and so
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I learned. But we had a
Uh,
real topic to talk about this week.
okay, so something happened in both of our lives recently. Um, we're I mean, wait,
I'm
no.
not pregnant.
We both. You're not pregnant. Okay, me neither. Interesting. Um, we both got new jobs. Um, for the past year. Oh, that's actually been longer than a year. For the past 2.5 years, at least, I've been basically freelancing. Well, not basically. I've been freelancing and working from home. And recently, last week, I started a new job, like a real, like, sit down at a desk and go into work job. And I know you started a new one. Well, you've started several
Yeah, I haven't
jobs.
started yet.
You just don't really hold down the job, so.
Nah, yeah, things change. Uh, yeah, so I haven't started my new job yet, but I'm transitioning to a new position, uh, basically in a week. And I have not been freelancing. I mean, I freelance on the side, but for the past, let's say, 9 or 10 years, I've always had a day job. Um, but I always freelance on the side or, do side work for people, stuff like that. So, it's not a big transition for me, but I imagine it'll be an interesting transition for you because you're used to working for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, one of the most immediate transitions is actually having to get dressed.
Having to
Um,
shower.
yeah, having to take regular showers. Having to pack my stuff in the morning. Things like that. Just being gone all day, stuff like that. Because I've been working from home. I mean, wearing wife beaters and basketball shorts on the daily, um, or sweatpants when I'm fancy. And I mean, I think the biggest impact, I mean, because I'm used to, dedicating a chunk of time getting stuff done and knocking it out or whatever. Some of the biggest impacts for me so far have been, I guess, just, the morning routine. Because, everybody has a routine, even if it's not a good routine, you have somewhat of a routine. And mine was kind of, some days I would go to the gym first, come home, make my oatmeal or whatever, sit down, start working, stuff like that. It wasn't like a hard routine where I had like specific things I was trying to do or whatever, but it was like things I did in the morning and time I had and time and freedom that I had.
It's
And then
all gone.
now I go in, gone, all gone. I mean, because I honestly, I could have decided to go into work or later. Honestly, there's people that come in at 10. I could have done that if I wanted to, but honestly, I like to get my day over with. So I told them I would be in at 7:30, and I know some people would be like, "That's crazy. What's wrong with you?" But I don't like sitting in traffic, so I decided I'm going to get to work before other people get to work, and I'm going to leave before everybody else leaves work. So
Yeah.
and it's like 30 minutes away, so I would rather knock it out. I mean, and I've been getting up at 5:30 anyway. Well, roughly 5:30 anyway, like for a while now. Um, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm already up. I mean, and I still have time to do things honestly if I want to. So
Yeah, so every time I change jobs, I've changed jobs a few times in my life. I always, when I start out, I'm always like, yeah, I'm gonna be that guy that gets in early, so I'm gonna be in at 7 or 7:30 or whatever. But yeah, over time, I generally end up getting around 8:39. But yeah, my aspiration, like the person David wants to be, is the guy that gets in early and leaves early. It just doesn't happen most of the time
yeah,
because random stuff happens, or sometimes I just get in the habit of waking up late. So my alarm goes off at 6:30 every morning. But recently I've gotten in the habit of turning my alarm off and then sleeping till 7, then getting up and getting ready. A couple days last
yeah,
week
that's what I was
I
doing.
slept till 7:30 and then got up.
Yeah,
And so, excuse me, yeah, that doesn't translate into actually getting to work at 7:30.
yeah, and that's. I mean, I'll explain some of what I'm thinking about, but like that plays into another thing where it being I don't know. It creates this thing in your mind that you're a bit of anxiety because you're late. You feel,
Mm,
you're running behind, and like that's how you started your day behind,
yeah.
kind of thing. Because there's a saying is on, if you're on time, you're
Mm,
late, kind of thing or whatever. But I know I get. I mean, even if nobody's tripping about it being on time, I know this past week I've been a little more like worried, not super worried about it. I know they weren't tripping about it, but just because you start a new job, you want good impressions or whatever. Maybe we can talk about that. What you what you need to do. What to do and what not to do when you start a new job. But you want to have good impressions and like just trying to let people know that I'm on top of it and I'm responsible and stuff like that. So later when I'm not responsible, they'll already have a like, oh, okay, no,
hmm
but he's on time. So it's fine that he
it's
just
fine.
didn't do any work today. He was here at 7. He didn't do anything, but he was here at
Yeah, I
7.
feel like so. There was a guy I used to work with who got fired, and that kind of played a part into it because the guy that fired him, my boss, was basically saying like, yeah, the work he did was okay, but he was always late, and then the customer didn't like him, and like that combination adds up to you're
Yeah,
fired. So if you can you can
yeah.
have
I
one
mean
or
it.
two bad things, but you got to outweigh them with like, well, he's always on time.
Yeah, and I just feel like as a black person, you can't be late. I feel like we have that pressure. Undue pressure is a society that has society has put on us that
I
we
try
can't.
not to be late because I don't want to be. Well, like where I work now, there was a guy that basically set a bad standard for the African American members of the team because he was always late, didn't do good work.
And you
And
had
so when I came in
to.
and I'm coming to work on time, they're like, "What? You're not like the rest of them," or they didn't say that, but you know what I'm saying. Like I felt like I knew I like so again in terms of making a good impression. That's one of the things I always try and do because that's what we were talking about. Kind of is like I always try and make sure I'm on time early for the first however months or whatever I'm working there. As time goes on, I'll adjust and I may start getting in later and later or whatever. But I try and be on time. Yeah, I've
But
already
you've already,
established.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
already
yeah,
the
yeah.
guy on
I'm the
time.
guy
Yeah.
that's
You
on
just
time
need to
because
establish
I
that.
think it's important when you first start, no matter what the job is, because when you first start, you can't really do anything else. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to set up your account, get all your software installed, get you a computer, all that type of stuff. You're doing onboarding, filling out paperwork. So
Yeah, it's like at least be on
at
time.
least be on time because nothing else you're going to do today is going to contribute to the bottom line of the company. Now, over time, as I'm actually able to do work, I'm becoming integrated with the team. I get assigned some tasks or whatever. Then I can actually contribute to the company, and then maybe I can be a little later because I did some amazing work. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But until I get like all my stuff set up where I can actually do work, I'm not going to be late.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, at least you'd be there. Yeah, I mean, because that definitely happened to me this past week. Because Monday Irma was popping off down here, so I actually left early.
Hmm.
I sent me home early on my first day, but I didn't really do much most of the week. Partially because of Irma, partially because, well, yeah, well, because of Irma, power was off in some of the buildings that the company has. And so that affected like some, because they had basically scheduled like, okay, Monday you come in. They had honestly, they did a really good job. They had all of my passwords and everything on a sheet of paper sitting on a desk.
Hmm.
Everything was already set up. It was amazing.
Hmm.
I'm not used to having that until like, 2, 3 months in.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, everything was set up. Not, but well, let me say, not everything. There were some things that I was missing, but for the majority of the things, I was able to log in and get into my email and see all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They had all that set up, and then they had all these meet and greet meetings scheduled all week for meeting with team member, the people there, people with the other in other buildings that are part of the company and stuff like that. So by this point, I mean, I have some meet and greets next week just because they had to reschedule them because their power was out for like all week in one of the buildings. But you get to meet. I've never had that where I actually went around and met everybody, so I know what everybody does.
Hmm.
That has never happened before.
Well, so
Like you have to figure it out. Like, wait, so you're sitting up front. What do you do? you know?
that's
Yeah.
one of the other things I always try and do when I start a new job. At least like for the first couple weeks, I always try. If it's a business casual job, I'm gonna wear a suit for the first 2 weeks. If I
Yeah,
have,
I didn't do that.
as much as possible. If I don't have suits, of course, I can't do that. But for the first couple weeks at the job I work at now, I wore a suit because again, like I can't contribute anything else. So at least I'm going to look nice, and then especially because I'm going to be meeting a lot of these people for the first time. So you're saying like
Yeah.
you're having meet and greets. So I'm going to start out with a good impression. Like I'm going to be there on time. I'm going to be the guy that's dressed nicely, not like overly dressed trying to show off on you, but I'm going to be dressed nicely. And I'm going to be friendly, all the other basic human interaction stuff. But I want to create a good impression of me as a person before you even know about my work. And then when you know about my work, then you'd be like, oh, that's the guy that's nice. He's on time. He's dressed as nice, and his work is good.
More like that's that guy. His work is good. He used to be on time and he used to dress nice and he used to be a good person.
Well, yeah, I mean, after the 2 weeks, then I gradually phase into business casual, whatever whatever everyone else is wearing. But I try and start off like just like when you go to an interview, you're gonna wear a suit or something. You're gonna try and
I
dress
did.
nice for your
I
interview.
definitely didn't wear a suit.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, well, okay. So this place, I mean, it's like super casual. I mean, one of the guys that interviewed me had on a shirt with George Bush riding a shark, so I wasn't that stressed about it. But I mean, and just reading the handbook, the main stipulation is they don't want me to wear anything with my shoulders out, and no tight pants unless I wear a shirt that's below, that's long enough. So those are the main stipulations. So I'm having to adjust my wardrobe a little bit.
They don't want
I
you to come
bought
to
a lot
work
of
with your cheeks out.
Yeah, I mean, I had purchased a lot of, I mean, a couple of,
Off the shoulder
professional.
tops.
Yeah, I mean, business casual crop tops, and I can't wear those now. So
So you
I
can't use your that string bra that all those Instagram people be talking about.
oh, the stringless. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get one of those. But but no, I mean it's a pretty relaxed environment. So I mean they're not stressing about it. I didn't wear a suit because I don't have a suit, but I didn't wear a tie because I would have looked crazy in there. I'd be way overdressed in this environment.
Hmm.
So I mean I just decent. I mean this past week I was stressing a little bit more than honestly. I mean if you're stressing about what you're wearing, that's a problem. I think I was just I don't know. I hadn't been in a real job in so long. It was just like I was overthinking it. So I was thinking way too hard about what I was going to wear the next day, and then But I'm slowly, I'm easing into just my regular V-neck T-shirt every day kind of thing that I fall into, and then I got to pick up some of those like long sleeve like Henley things. I think that's what they call them for the winter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, basically, I could wear whatever, but I mean, I try to keep up some level of, you know, I mean, I like dressing decent or whatever, so I'm gonna try to keep something up or whatever. Um,
Well, that's what
but
like
I mean, it.
I wear
Oh,
suits because of the environment I'm in, but I think I think it's important. I'm not saying that anyone should wear a suit to their job, whatever. You got to really evaluate where you work. But I wear suits
yeah,
because, well, for one reason, because I want to try and create a good impression. But then also, like especially if I'm in a situation or I'm in a position where I need to interact with customers, then I want to
yeah,
make sure that my managers feel like they can trust me to interact effectively with customers. And that,
yeah, to represent the
yeah,
company or
yeah, yeah. So
whatever.
that
Yeah,
means not just my appearance. Of course, I want my appearance to be nice, but I want them to be able to feel comfortable. Like he's wearing jeans and a t-shirt today, but that's what he normally wears. But hey, we have a customer meeting tomorrow. I can trust that he's not going to wear jeans and a t-shirt. He's going to come in dressed appropriately for that meeting.
yeah, we don't have to like hide him.
Like, can you just call in to this meeting? But I want them to feel comfortable that I can communicate with customers on that level, and then also like, and that applies to like how I talk and all that type of stuff too. So I try and create that whole atmosphere or that whole perception early, so that uh, further down the line, then they're just like, yeah, well, David will talk to the customer, and they don't even have to be like, David, can you make sure you wash your clothes and wear something nicer than normal tomorrow?
Yeah.
I guess.
I'll see what I have. Yeah. No, I mean the thing is I started on the same day as the guy that I'll be reporting to, like the marketing head of marketing or whatever. I was talking to him and he was like, "Yeah, normally I don't dress like this, but this week I'm gonna, because he was wearing like, not a suit, but it's the I wore a suit this morning, but I, took off my tie and my
Yeah.
jacket as the day went on. But like, I was laughing at him because it was like, yeah, maybe next week I'll start wearing jeans. 'Cause that's what I normally wear. And by Friday he had on jeans, and I was like, there you go.
Yeah, I feel like yeah,
You
you
come-
just gotta ease into it. Let people know where it is, and then ease it
yeah.
out of it.
I mean, I haven't worn my wild colored shoes that I have. I have a couple of shoes that are, more expressive colors. I haven't done that yet.
Well, do you think
Easing into it though.
like as a designer, because I mean we're both like, so my day job is not necessarily as a strictly as a designer. It's more of a development slash design job. But I feel like when you're working in those type of positions, people give you some leeway because they're like, oh, he's in IT. Who cares?
Yeah, no, they do. Because yeah, we talked about that some on the last episode. But yeah, it would be weird if I was wearing a suit.
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, one of the people I was in the interview with had on a suit, and that's probably part of. Well, he just seemed terrible anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's the expectation for someone in our position
Yeah.
anyway. And also, when I went in to sign new hire paperwork, there was a guy walking around with a Batman shirt on with a cape. So,
So you just work with a bunch of weirdos.
well, I mean, that was in the call center. I mean, and I don't know. I think this company does a lot to. They try to do a lot for, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
morale. So they're not going to trip about that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. They also keep snacks. They basically told me it's like, hey, if there's we keep a stocked fridge. If there's anything you want, we'll get it. Put it on the list that we get it every week, so that's what you can eat, kind of
Mm.
thing. So so I was like, all right, I'm gonna need them sun chips. I need some almond milk. You know,
Hit them up with a
and
grocery
yeah,
list.
and they'll just order it. No, yeah, no, they'll
Mm.
order it and they'll keep it in the kitchen. That's how it is. And I was like, wow, this is and half of my emails that I get from or people in the company talking about, oh, there's biscuits and coffee in the break, stuff like that. So it's just, I don't know. It's like I'm kind of impressed by like the things they do because I've worked for a lot of companies that didn't seem to
Mm-hmm.
care that much. So it's kind of interesting to see that kind of
Yeah.
environment. I thought that was only on TV, honestly. It's like one of those offices where you always see the graphic design job or whatever, and it's like everybody there's like all these hipsters walking around and people with man buns and stuff like that, and like cube chairs and stuff like that, weird stuff. Um, it's not quite like that. Nobody has a man bun, but it I don't know. It's kind of like a more relaxed environment and that kind of stuff, and they have like a little area, like a couch and a TV and all that kind of. I don't know, just some of the stuff they have around or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, this does exist. This can actually happen. I do have a window.
Mm-hmm. I
But
think it's funny. I know this kind of wasn't what we were going to talk about, but I think it's funny how like the characterization of like IT and design type jobs on TV, how it's completely different from actual reality. I mean, and for the most part, because I've worked on a lot of design jobs and stuff like that, and development jobs, and none of them have been like the stereotypical, like the what you see on TV for a IT type of job, where it's like that
yeah,
Google type environment or whatever you want to call it. Because none of my jobs have been like that. That might be because of where I live or whatever, but it's still interesting how things are characterized versus reality.
yeah. I mean, some of that stuff is like, I don't know. It's like, when would you use that? Like, when? What? I don't know. I mean, I understand. You need to be in an environment that is going to encourage creativity and stuff like that. But some things, it just seems like the company thinks they saw this and they thought it would be cool, so they started doing it. But that's not actually their culture there. So it's like just kind of like, oh, so you have a ball pit, okay? Why? Something like that. It's just kind of, I don't know. I mean, I think it like when you do things, it needs to be purposeful and like it'll, you can't just be arbitrary with what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Something else that I think we'll probably should have a whole episode about it. A book I'm reading right now, it was actually a requirement. It was like one of the things, like, okay, here's your sheet with all your last sign in, blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Here are your meetings and everything, and here, read this book within 2 weeks. And it's a book called crap, I forgot it. It's about habits. The Power of Habit, I think. Let me look it up.
Is it yellow and
Yes,
habit is
yeah,
red? Yeah,
yeah,
I.
yeah, by Charles Duhigg. Yeah,
Okay, so I have that book. It's in the bookcase right beside me right now. My wife got it. I have not looked at it, but
it's
I
pretty
might have to read
interesting.
it.
Yeah, it's a requirement
Mm.
that we read it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. All right,
Well, I think that's good because a
but
lot of
yeah,
places, like, so that plays into like the culture of the place you work. And
yeah,
a lot of places I've worked, there was no one, there was no, cultural manager or whatever you want to call it. But there was no one like coming kind of out there trying to establish the culture with you when you started. It was just like whoever I met first kind of established how things
yeah.
were. And so, like, in several previous jobs, I've met like I ended up meeting the slacker first, and so I was like, oh, this is how it
Oh
goes. And then I'm not a
yeah,
slacker, so I was like, all right, well, nice to meet you, cool. But I'm actually gonna be doing work over here. So I don't know.
yeah. You don't want to meet the person that's trying to
Well,
get done
yeah,
stuff
I've
and
met
came in
like
late.
a couple times. I met the person who was like on their way out, like, "Yo, son, this job is terrible. I'm about to quit." And you're like, "Oh crap, what have I gotten myself into?" And then I've met
Yeah,
I've met good people sometimes, but it was hard. Yeah, like there was no like you said, like the culture wasn't established. Like no one said, okay, this is
Hmm.
how we do things here. I mean, it's part of it is because of the places I've worked in the past, but I think that's interesting that they kind of stepped out early and kind of established how the culture, how they want things to go. At least, obviously, things there's no controlling what happens, but it's cool that they stepped out.
Yeah, but yeah, giving somebody that and requiring that you read it, it you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
pick something up, you know. Because I think we should talk about it. Maybe you should read it, but I think it would be interesting because it's just the habit forming, and I mean, definitely has me thinking about like setting them like I was talking about morning routines,
Mm-hmm.
the stuff like that, like changing my morning routine and like the things you can do that make you more productive at work, like it says, like if you exercise regularly, you're going to be more
Mm-hmm.
productive at work, and like the indirect correlation and things like that. But yeah, I think you should read it, and we should talk about it on an episode. So,
Does it have
but that was
pictures?
something they did, and then no, yes,
Mm.
actually,
Okay, I might read it.
little diagrams here and
Nah, I'll
there.
definitely read it. We'll link up on that.
But the other thing that I did like, they also have a whole section of their company there. It's something they mentioned in the interview was that they're big about giving back and stuff like that, and they have a whole thing for like an overflow center for people like people that went to jail. That's what it's for.
Those are called ex-cons.
No, but it's like a thing that
It's
it's
like a
called
halfway
like
house,
it's
or
like
they're
no, no, it's not. It's after that. It's like people they got done with all that or whatever, but they need it. You still can't get a job a lot of times and
yeah.
stuff like that. So it can be court ordered or whatever, but it's not like halfway kind of thing necessarily. So they're not having to like go back to jail and stuff like that or whatever. But no, but I thought that was really cool because I mean it's like a real job. I mean, and they do that long enough, they can apply for like at the
Mm-hmm.
actual company also, but they getting paid. They're providing them food honestly from a food bank so they can have food and stuff like that. And I mean, that was one of the places I went and had to go over and meet. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a thing where you work somewhere and you know this company is doing something good. Because I've always struggled with like, okay, I would like to do something good, but like I ain't got time to volunteer because like I got to work. So it's interesting that
It's
it's like,
built
oh,
into
okay,
your
well,
job.
this company is doing this. Yeah. So me going to work means that, even if I don't do anything for them and they do need help, so I will be doing stuff for them. But even if I didn't do anything for them, if I did awesome at this other place, then they will benefit from it. So it makes you like, oh, okay, well, this is why I needed to come over here and meet this so I can see where, almost like where my effort
Mm-hmm.
is going,
Mm-hmm.
in a way.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, I
Because I
mean,
worked. I think
yeah.
it makes you feel better about your employer to know that they're actually trying to help in the community. Because I've worked for places and they've had some kind of outreach stuff, but it was always like the generic stuff. Like because these companies were millions of dollars companies and making like hundreds of
Yeah.
millions of dollars and stuff like that. So they like donate money to the Red Cross, for Irma or whatever. They do the generic stuff that everyone does, but they wouldn't. I never saw any company. I've never worked for a company that was doing that direct stuff. And that's like even in our
Yeah.
company, our freelance company that we do, I always look for opportunities. Well, let me not say always. That's not true. I try to look for opportunities to help people.
You always try to
Yeah.
think that you look for
But
opportunity.
I do look for opportunities where I can help people because there are people that need something like they need my services, my specific services. And so if I can help them with my services and I don't, I'm not in a situation where I need the money, I definitely do it. And it's
Yeah.
helping people makes you feel good.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean yeah. No, that's the best thing. If you're feeling down, go do something for somebody else and it'll I don't know. And not just on some, well, I'm doing better than them kind of thing, but just on I don't know.
Hmm.
You just feel better. Like I did something, I'm making a difference. Feeling like you're making a
Yep.
difference feels good, you know. Because I mean, people want to feel needed and important, and like they're contributing something to society, even if they won't like
Hmm.
expressly admit that. But it's like a reality that like you'll, I don't know. I think it's a need
Well,
as
I can also
humans.
say like sometimes in my job, my day job that I'm doing, you're sitting there. I'll sit there all day and do stuff, whatever that stuff is. But sometimes I'm feeling like, really, I'm not helping. Like, I'm not doing anything that useful today. Like, yeah, I'm getting paid a lot of money to be here or whatever.
Oh
But
yeah.
on one of my past jobs, I literally there was several days I sat there and just watched YouTube videos all day because it was the work was so easy. I would just knock it out, and then I'm like, all right, nothing else to do.
Yeah, no, that definitely happened to me. Like, and like they weren't giving me new stuff, and I basically had to create my own work and like try to learn things. But yeah, I definitely spent some time watching YouTube and
Yep.
Stargate, and
And so, like, after
and I
that,
mean, and
after a day of doing
eventually,
that, you feel like, well, I haven't done anything to contribute to society. So I'm like, let me find somebody to help or
yeah,
do
no,
something
yeah,
because I really haven't done anything today.
yeah, you literally wasted
Mm-hmm.
8 hours of your day. Yeah, even if you're, yeah, because some people would look at it as like, well, they ain't give me anything, so I'm just gonna do this or whatever. But like, I don't know. I feel like as I've gotten older, I've felt like the need, like urgency, like okay, I need to do some, I need to be doing something. Even if it's, I mean, even if I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to work on something for myself, I can't just watch other
Yeah.
people, I can't, I can't watch other people's product,
Well, yeah,
you
I've
know.
definitely, I could definitely agree because I get that feeling, especially if I'm not doing anything at work. I'm like, man, I should just go home because I have stuff I could do there, but I'm trapped here for 8 hours and
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything specifically useful. And I know I work with a lot of people that are perfectly comfortable sitting there and not doing anything for 8 hours because they're like, well, I'm getting paid, but that's not enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as like, okay, I'm gonna get paid, but what can I do while I get paid if they're not
Yeah,
giving me anything else? Like, okay, well, maybe I can either I'm getting paid doubly, to do some actual work, or maybe I can, spend some time, I don't know,
learn
draw
something.
something, write
Yeah.
something, work on, yeah, learn something, do something, you know. Just don't waste that time because I don't know. I mean, I think my biggest fear is looking up and feeling like I,
Mm-hmm.
wasted my
Yep.
time. That's my biggest fear.
It's a scary thought.
So.
But speaking of time, I think that's one of the biggest challenges for me as someone who has a day job and freelances on the side. And I imagine it'll be something you're going to have to deal with, or I guess you've dealt with in the past.
Yeah.
How do you handle that in terms of, hey, I got work for my side clients and I've got work for my day job I got to do.
That's been a struggle, honestly. I mean, there's some things like answering emails or whatever I can do wherever at school or whatever. But this first week, I've been actually been telling people it's like, hey, I just started a job, so give me a moment, I'll get to it. I mean, earlier today, I actually had to sit down and do some work. I mean, in the past, I didn't really do any much like web work and stuff like that. That kind of work on Sundays. But today I was like, okay, well, I didn't have time to do this during the week, so I need to do it. Um, I think the plan is because it's not so much that I don't have time during the week, just the adjustment of this week. I've been
Mm-hmm.
just tired after work. I think I just got to get more into the swing of things so that I can dedicate some time to it. I mean, I don't have the, and I was used to doing stuff early in the morning too, and now I'm at work. So I'm just going to have to readjust and knock out some of that stuff in the evening. That won't take me that long. Knock it out, get it, get it done. And I mean, having this, I won't need to go so hard on getting new projects in. So that may, take on less, but also, make sure I'm doing a good job on them and not so much like just trying to power through things
Yeah.
so I can get paid. Um, so, I mean, it's just going to be an adjustment period, I think. Because there are projects that I need to finish
Mm-hmm.
now. And like, I just got to find a way to make sure I dedicate enough time to them. And, because I mean, even though I'm not getting off drastically, I'm not getting off that late or whatever. It's just, you know, it's just different when you go into work versus when you're sitting at home all day. Even if you work in the same amount of
Yeah.
hours, it's just different.
I think for me, I've been doing it for a while, but it's still a challenge. It's constantly a challenge because, you know, there's only certain like when I'm at work at my day job, there's certain things I just can't do. Like I can't be working on someone's website all blatantly because then I won't have a day job anymore. So like emailing people and things like
Yeah,
that, I can do that while I'm at work and just regular correspondence stuff. But some stuff I just have to do after work or when I get home or whatever. And I think I found it useful to kind of schedule a time where you're going to get certain things done, even during my day at work. So at work, I've got things for my day job I got to do coming in and stuff like that. And I found it useful. Sometimes I'll go out to my car and just respond to emails from my phone, because then it gives me a chance to no distractions from my day job, and I can just focus on, okay, I'm going to reply to these 3 emails or whatever, and then I'm going to go back to doing my day job. But it's like separating the two makes it easier, because there's definitely been times when I've sat down and I was like, let me respond to this person's email, and then day job stuff came up, and then it's the end of the day and I didn't respond to the email. So I have to do that. And then
Yeah.
getting stuff done in the evenings after work is definitely a challenge. I have 2 kids, and then just other stuff that goes on in the evening. So, I may have the best plan to get stuff done that evening, and then I get off of work and I get a phone call about something, or something breaks around the house, or, like it's summer, I have to cut the grass. Stuff comes up, and then next thing you know, it's just time for me to go to sleep so I can wake up and go to work in the morning, and I haven't gotten the stuff done. So I have to, what I try and do, at least what's worked for me, is to break my work down into little small chunks that I can do in maybe 15 to 30 minutes. Because with young kids, especially when my kids were younger, now they're older, so it's a little easier. But with younger kids, when they were younger, you maybe have 15 minutes, and then I need to go check on them. I need to go make sure that, they need to change a diaper or whatever, whatever's going on. So if I can do something for 15 minutes and make some good progress on it and take a break, go check on them, do whatever they need to do, then come back, then I could actually make progress and get things done. But if I need to spend like 2 hours just sitting here working on something, it's tough to get those 2 hours, because my kids, they haven't seen daddy all day, they want to play with daddy too. So I can't, like, it's hard for me to get like a 2 hour period with just me and the computer consistently.
Yeah, uninterrupted. Yeah, and you want to make sure you're dedicating
Yeah.
your time to family and everything. So yeah, I mean, I think that's something I'm gonna have to do, is just find ways to, like, okay, make a plan for it and sit down. Because a lot of stuff I do, it's not really, I wouldn't say it's
Hmm.
that time consuming. Some things don't do only if you just sit down and do
Yeah.
them real quick. It doesn't take that long. If you can just get in a good 30
Focused
minutes
work.
of good,
Yeah, yeah. But
focused
when I
work.
sit down on my
Yeah,
computer, a lot of times it's like, okay, let me open up all my distractions. All right, now let me do. And so
oh
you
yeah,
just gotta focus. Like, all right,
yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
work for
and
30 minutes, and then I'm gonna go do what I need to be doing, whatever else.
yeah. I mean, and I know while I was freelancing, a lot of times, I mean, partially because, like, I like to listen to stuff while I'm working or something like that. Just, just have stuff going on or whatever. But, like, I mean, the reality is I probably could have gotten more done if I just sat down and was like, okay, then I'm going to do 30 minutes of good focused work. And so that
Hmm.
then I can take a break kind of thing. That's kind of what I've been doing now since I've been in the office, because I'm just not going to be all over the
Hmm.
internet, at work or whatever. So it's like more so of me like, okay, I'm going to get in some focused work, and then I get up and just, walk, get a snack, something. I don't know, because I got mad snacks on decky. Um, I probably shouldn't eat that many snacks, but yeah, I just like to get up sometimes or whatever. I'm kind of paranoid sometimes. I'm like, I don't think I'm up all the time, but I don't know. But I mean, I think I need to exercise that doing focused work, because I also now I'm not in a environment where they're sitting there
Hmm.
tracking your time and stuff like that. Like that, it's just do good work. So it doesn't really I appreciate that more, especially as a creative. You need that kind of freedom to think, and 'cause sometimes I'm just sitting there thinking and looking at something. And I don't need somebody coming
Yeah.
around like, why aren't you clicking? Why isn't your mouse moving? I noticed your mouse isn't moving. It's ridiculous. So,
All right. So I guess, is there anything specific that you're looking forward to about your job, about having a job, aside from like paycheck?
oh, benefits.
Benefits are nice.
Um, because I was gonna say
I
that
mean, you can get a
today.
bag and get your
Um,
teeth fixed.
hey, yeah, I can do that, and I can be the kid that got his chipped tooth fixed. Sorry. Um, I did get my chipped tooth fixed actually
I forgot that
before
you had a
Nas
chip
did.
too,
So
and it was my fault
yeah,
too. Oh
yeah,
well.
yep. old wounds never heal. I get, yeah, but I don't know. But yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm looking forward to what I can learn there and just the opportunity to like really like help, work at a company that I
Hmm.
actually kind of like. That'd be tight. And I don't know, see where I can grow from there and like really, see what it's like working with the teams. A lot of times
Hmm.
I have been the team, so it'd be nice to actually work with a real team and like create like good stuff. I mean, 'cause there's like an actual there's a videography team there. I mean, like there's like marketing people. It's not just like, hey, what do you think, Anthony? It's like like there's people that legit do this kind of stuff, and it'd be kind of exciting to just kind of like, oh, okay, well, all right, well, what do you think, and like get ideas from them and create stuff from there. Not just kind of doing what I just doing what I can to get by and like just. I think maybe also just the um because for a while now, not all of my work is like this, but some of the work has been hurry up and get this done. So I'm not actually doing good work. I'm just
Hmm.
doing work. I can't put that much thought into it. It's just get it done. And it'd be nice to, actually think, not just feel like a, Photoshop
Yeah, I
operator,
think the
you know?
thing that one of the things, like you mentioned, working with a team, it's great. Like, so my job is not always, my current job is not a design job. I'm doing software development, and some web design stuff. So it's useful. I love working with a team because then I can, like you say, you can get good feedback from people. And I feel like working in a vacuum, like when you're like a freelancer, sole proprietor, working by yourself, it's easy to kind of drink your own Kool Aid and assume everything is good because the customer says it's good or whatever. And, you can kind of get in your stuck in your ways in terms of ways of doing things and stuff like that. So I feel like it's very useful to work with a team, but I think it's also even more important to work with a team that does stuff like adjacent to you but different. Because
Yeah.
even like in my freelance stuff that we do together, a lot of times when I'm talking to customers or whatever, I'm bringing in ideas and thoughts that I got from my day job that might not have necessarily been completely, like connected. Like it was a design idea I got at work, but it's like concepts and ideas of ways of managing projects and ways of discussing problems that I got from my day job, and that type of stuff is useful to me, um, because I feel like if I was just doing freelance design by myself, a lot of these experiences, people I've met, um, things I've been through would have never happened, and so I wouldn't have these same thoughts and ideas.
Yeah. No, I mean that's true. I mean, even if you're not, even if it's not so much you're drinking your own Kool-Aid, just
Yeah.
sometimes you just need feedback. You know, I mean, and honestly, I was just thinking like, some things I've done or suggested to people were based not so much on like, not entirely on this isn't a good idea to do this, but more
Mm-hmm.
so like I don't know how to do that. I can't do that for you. So I'm going to suggest something else that I can definitely do so we can get this done and I don't have to like pull in like all these people and I think now I'll have a resource for that. So that'll be interesting to be able to um, work with resources available, not having to just find free stock photos. It'd be nice to, really like, oh, okay, no, get what I want. All right, cool. Stuff like that. I mean, it'll be interesting and working with like a digital asset management tool. I've never used that before. You know, but I mean, I don't know. It'd be cool. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that check.
Yeah, paychecks are nice.
Yeah. So.
It takes a lot of stress off of everything when you know you're gonna get something every 2 weeks or every week or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I learned a lot from doing freelance. Not that I never would do it again or anything like that, but it does, I think it's definitely something I would have to build up. I would have to know more people and be able to build up my clientele first before I do that. Um, but yeah, it definitely, I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulder. Like, oh my goodness, I'm not stressing about like making every single moment count anymore. I don't feel so guilty when I'm sitting at home and I'm not actually doing anything.
Hmm.
'Cause before it was like constantly like I should be doing something, I should be doing something, I should be doing this, and I'm not getting paid for this moment kind of thing. And so I mean that'll be you know it's I don't know you learn a lot from it, but sometimes you need a break because I think I was getting to a point where I was like on the verge of I don't know something. I don't know. It wasn't a good. I wasn't in a good place. So I'll just say that. But I don't know.
If you
I
ever need
think.
someone to talk to, call one of those hotlines.
Definitely. Yeah.
But
So
I was gonna ask. Okay, so about money. Um, when you were negotiating salary, did you try to negotiate something similar to what you were getting for your freelance work, or were you going for more?
more.
Okay.
Or you mean like
So like, let's say I was gonna
more hourly than what I
hourly,
would
yeah,
charge?
yeah. Like so, hourly,
Um.
your hourly freelance rate, let's say is $20. When you get a day job, do you try and get $20 an hour at your day job?
Um. Well, I mean, the way I look at it is if you're, well, I don't know, because that may be wrong also. I mean, because I used to look at it in a way like, okay, well, if they're going to pay you 40 hours, if it's full time, they're going to pay you, for 40 hours, then you can lower your hourly rate a little bit.
Hmm. Because you know you're
But
gonna get that 40 every week.
yeah, but then you can look at that a different way. If you're freelancing and everything and you're accepting a day job, you are
You're
having
cutting
to
your.
turn yeah you're having to turn down some of the work
Mm-hmm.
um and that happened. I mean I that struck me when I was talking to somebody once, and I was like, oh, I mean, even though that wasn't a reality for me, that I was it was if I took a job it was going to cut into so much work that I was going to make less money necessarily, but it is the concept of if I was doing enough freelance work and I was charging everybody like $40 an hour and I was filling up 40 hours a week, then yeah, accepting a job would be you know, taking a pay cut.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know. I tried to strike somewhere in the middle. I mean, I'm happy with, I'm okay with it. What it is for now, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know. I mean, I'm not necessarily chasing money like that. Like I've always said, I just want to put my bills on auto pay. But I don't know. I mean, I also know my worth, so I had to find a nice balance in that. And you got to think about stuff like that. That may be something we need to talk about in an episode, like of I don't know, pricing things. Well, I probably need to learn something about that first before I can talk about it. So
I think for me, like, so in my day job, I'm doing different types of work. If I was doing graphic design for my day job, I would try and keep my rates somewhat similar. But I mean, I think the rate for a freelancer versus the rate for a 9 to 5 person is going to be different. So I've never really thought about that question. I just asked you because I never thought about it. But yeah, like currently the amount I charge someone to do like web design, graphic design on the side, the hourly that I get paid at my day job is definitely more. But I think it kind of goes with what you're saying. Like if I wanted to do, if you want me to spend 40 hours a week with you, you're gonna have to pay me a little more than if you are fine with me freelancing. But I don't know if
yeah,
that might not be logical or whatever. I don't know. So it's
it
just something
depends
I
on
made up.
what you're doing specifically. Because some things you can get paid more for an hour than other things.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So what I do for my day job is definitely something that I can get paid a lot more than I could as a graphic designer. So hard to compare.
All right. Well, if I have any thoughts on that, I'm sure I'll bring it up in another episode. But I guess that's it for now. Thanks for listening as always. Check us out on the internet, Alien Muffin everywhere. Um,
If you're considering getting a day job and stop not freelancing anymore, uh, yeah, I'd say the biggest thing that we didn't say much about it was like definitely take some time and think about it, like the pros and cons and all that type of stuff, because
yeah,
it will, it's a change. It will impact your life, like Anthony had talked about. It's definitely a change of pace and all that type of stuff.
yeah.
But if it's what you need, it could be good.
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to get you out of your double wide and you can finally ride a plane, then I say do it.
Yep.